Breathing is overrated. Welcome everyone to the SOE Community Webcast. Now, we all know that there's been some kerfuffle going on today, and that was started by this guy and this gal. Well, actually it started a long time before this, but as you know, we're here today to talk about EverQuest II and the transition to free-to-play in conjunction with the release of the expansion Age of Discovery. See, so close. See, this is the problem. We've had so many expansions over the years in both EQ, which is about to do their, 18th expansion or something, and we're on our 7th expansion. I mean, is it 7 expansions or no, 6? 6th expansion.
No.
I can't keep up.
This is the 8th.
This is the 8th.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I've run out of names to call them, and I'm just going to start repeating now. But today we have Emily Taylor, who used to be our trade skill developer on EQ2, and now she's the associate producer. And we have Dave Georgeson, whom you guys know as SmokeJumper, or other names closely related to, and he's the executive producer for the entire EQ franchise.
All incredibly complimentary.
All incredibly complimentary. Is it true that you changed your screen name today? Or is that rumor? No? Oh, I heard somebody say that you did. That must have just been wishful thinking.
No, I didn't.
All right, so in the past, we've seen a lot of articles where Smed has done interviews and even a blog at one point where he has talked about free-to-play in the weeks and months that were leading up to the to DCO's free-to-play transition and announcement. So it probably hasn't come as a huge surprise to some of our listeners that EQ2 is going the same path as well. But there has been a perception that we've seen here and there that free-to-play is the precursor to the death of a game. Now, as far as I know, EQ2 is pretty darn healthy. What can you comment to that?
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's actually a completely reasonable interpretation because up until now in North America, free-to-play games have not been high quality.
Right.
And it has been a lot of, well, we can't figure out any other way to make money, so let's just go ahead and throw it out there and hope we can make something. But that doesn't invalidate the business model at all. If you take that same business model and you apply it to a quality product, amazingly, you get really astounding results in both people and business returns and excitement, and bigger communities foster better gameplay, so on and so forth. Obviously, we've been experimenting with it for years now. Free Realms, Clone Wars, EverQuest II Extended, and now DCUO.
Right.
And the recent returns on DCUO were insane. I think we had, what was it,
Crazy.
over 1,000% increase on registrations once we went free to play with that game.
That is correct.
So let's just put it this way. If EverQuest II got 1/10 of that, we'd be very, very happy players. It would just be awesome. To have that many people come into the game would be incredible. But even still, that's really not the reason we're doing it.
Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit because, of course, the internal discussions have gone on for some time. It's certainly not a spur-of-the-moment decision. So, in a nutshell, what's in it for the players?
It's free. It's flexibility. I mean, well, there's a phrase that I turned in some recent interviews that's been getting some mileage, so I'll throw it out there again.
Okay.
The existing model for making money off an MMO is what I call pay and hope. You pay your money up front, and then you hope the game is going to be good.
Right.
When you go with a free-to-play model, what you're basically doing is saying, look, you don't have to give us a dime if you don't think it's worthwhile. You don't have to give us anything. You can play for free all of the content in the game, all the way up through Sentinel's Fate.
Right.
You can play all the way up to 90. It's wide open. You can play as much or as little as you want to, and then it's up to you whether you decide to leave money behind to help the dev team. I mean, it's almost back to the days of shareware models sort of stuff. It's people are really excited. It gives you the ability to pay however you want to, including not at all.
Right, so, hence the tagline that we eventually came up with, which is free to play your way.
Yeah.
Where you can just make those choices. Now,
I mean, wait, just one more quick note. My producer's letter is 4 pages long. It has a huge amount of detail in it. But there's only one change that happened today. We made subscriptions optional. That's it. Everything else is just detail explaining the change. But that's all we did. So that's a good thing.
It is. The other benefits that I can see just in talking to people that I know that used to play the game is I can come back now, guilt-free. I don't have to worry about paying for it. I can, I'll look at the game again. I've heard that it's changed over the years a lot, and some of them have likened it to a free trial that has no expiry date if you're a new player. So you can invite people in with no risk whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is just have a good time, and if you like the game, tell your friends about it, because it's not going to cost them a dime.
Right.
And then they can come in and play, and if you see something that you think is entertaining or really cool, or something that you want to brag to other players about or something like that, then of course there's other ways to pay. I mean, we wouldn't have a business if there wasn't any way to pay. But
somehow we have mortgages and groceries and things to buy. So
it's not the focus. What we're here to do is entertain people, and when we get constant feedback from our players about how the upfront cost is really onerous for people nowadays, and they don't want to be required to pay a subscription fee, that all makes sense to us. None of us wants those things. So what I want as a player is to go into a game, and then if I like the game, support the game.
Right.
My last company that I worked for was a company called Gaia Online, and for years they existed on nothing but donations from their players to keep the site alive.
Really?
It was really cool. Very, very positive. And in a way, this is exactly the same thing.
Right.
Because if you want to pay, you pay.
Well, it's the ultimate democratic system, isn't it? You vote with your support with your dollars. And
right.
If you don't like what you're being offered, you don't have to pay for it.
If the features are not quality, you don't buy them.
And speaking as someone who was a developer until recently, I mean, I've spent the last 4 years making this game as awesome as I can, and I really believe people will pay for it. I'm completely committed to that, and I know we all are. We're very excited.
Well, we know it'll work.
And also, SOE,
it's working.
One of the things we know about our company is SOE is a company of gamers making games. So we've all tried the free-to-play model in other games, and it works really well in some, and perhaps not so well in others. So I hope that we've learned several lessons from that, too, that we're bringing into play here.
Well, it's like anything. I mean, 80% of things, I don't care what it is you're building or what business you're in, 80% of those things don't work.
Right.
So, like, for instance, you could go play a free-to-play game and not have a great experience. That doesn't mean free-to-play is bad.
No.
It just means that their implementation of free-to-play was bad.
And guess what? You've lost nothing except for the time it took you to download the game, which is pretty cheap.
There's no difference between that and a regular box product. More than 80% of the box products I've bought have been garbage.
I've certainly bought some MMOs that I would not have minded doing the trial first. Yeah,
yeah, that's very true.
We got a good game. We're proud of it. We
awesome.
know that people will try it and be happy with it.
And it has great trade skills.
Really good trade skills. So one of the things I want to point out here is we asked for questions on Facebook earlier today, and we got like 4 pages of questions, and so we'd like to pose these to you guys. Are you ready?
Sure.
This is going to be awesome. First of all, a question of my own, just because I know that this is coming. Open beta. Are we close? Are we there yet?
We're not there yet.
But, oh look, he's just holding out.
We are letting the fanfare guys in today,
okay.
It looks like.
So this is the beginning of open beta.
Terrific.
So we're opening up, we were waffling whether it was going to be today or tomorrow. That's
oh, okay.
I've been busy with other stuff.
And you're worried she's going to hit you with the stick if you
I
say
didn't want
the
to say it
wrong
was
thing,
today
right?
when it was actually tomorrow.
As we left, they were doing the final checks to make sure that the latest update, there were no issues.
Awesome.
Assuming it was looking good when I left, assuming nothing is broken in the last 10 minutes, then I'm expecting to let the fanfare guys in probably tonight.
Terrific.
Yeah. Plus a couple hundred other people too.
Absolutely.
So we'll be this will be the first wave, and then we'll do another wave next week, and we'll keep doing waves until we're happy with the number of people playing. All of the features, we've been staging the features through the friends and family tests,
right?
So that we were concentrating focus on tests on different elements and stuff like that. Now we're to the point where the only one that we're still locking behind closed doors because we want people to focus on other stuff is Dungeon Maker. All the other features are in the beta build. Dungeon Maker we're not going to unlock for people to start exploring until next week because we want the focus to be on Beast Lords and Mercs and the Freeport quests and stuff like that. And that all kind of fits together and is the same thing. So we want people to focus in on that over this weekend and until we let in the next group, and then we'll open up the Dungeon Maker testing.
Okay. And I will say that in these questions there's a little bit of overlap between things that are coming in Age of Discovery and a little bit to do with free-to-play. So let's just start right at the top here. Tom T. wants to know, when do we get Beast Lords?
Expansion launch.
Or in the beta, right?
Or in the beta.
Okay.
They can play they can, well, the beta's like a loan of Beast Lords.
That's why actually for the beta I have decided No Beast Lord for me. I'll read about them, but I want to keep it really fresh because I'm super excited about
Well,
stuff.
I hope lots of people want to help us test them because that's the way we're going to
Yeah,
get good.
You
if we want to get
guys
you in the
go
beta.
out and test the Beast Lords. Let me know how it goes so that when I'm starting my cute little Beast Lord, because I'm not going to have time to launch anyway. Who am I kidding? Okay, so that's terrific.
Note to self, no beta invite for Linda.
Don't waste your beta invite on me. I have to be honest, I'm not going to have time to go in.
You're
It
out.
makes me really sad, but I'll pop by the department and peer over your shoulders. So, David S. would like to know, will there be free character transfers after the conversion?
Not planned at this time, no.
Okay.
We only have Vox and the Bazaar that are doing any merging, and usually when we do those character transfer days, it's usually after a big merge.
Right.
And we're not really doing that this time.
Okay. And we're not doing the transfers there because of the nature of the merger?
Yeah, it's a pure population merge thing because
Gotcha.
Vox and the Bazaar are so woefully underpopulated.
They really are.
Vox is, well, they'll be happy now that they're part of Negative.
Lots of people to beat up on. Dominic R. would like to pose this to you here. It says, none of my characters are of the 4 races that are available to free players. If I can't afford my regular subscription, what will become a gold membership once this plan goes into effect and play free for a month? Will my characters be locked out so that I can't play them, or how will that work?
Well, currently if you stopped paying, you obviously wouldn't be able to play at all.
You
When we
lose
go
access to everything.
Exactly.
Right.
When we go to free to play, you'll still be able to play at the free level. Now that wouldn't include the races and classes that aren't included with free to play. You can unlock those individually if you wish. So if you really want to play your illusionist or
Right.
whatever, then you could buy the illusionist unlock or troll.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to play troll.
Everybody wants to play a troll.
Okay, so if you want to play...
My people, you hear me. The trollish people shall rise.
So if you want to play an illusionist and a troll, you unlock 2 packs.
Right,
One
right.
race, one class. Or for the races, you can just go ahead and go with the gold membership and
Sure,
that
if you
unlocks
just
all-
continue paying exactly as you are now, nothing changes.
Okay.
And if you can't for some reason pay, then you still get to play for free, which I think is a
All
huge
right.
improvement.
So basically, if I can't afford my
Yes.
regular subscription and play free for a month, you're much better off than right now if you can't pay for your subscription for a
Yeah.
month, which means you can't
Yeah.
access anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you don't want to unlock your class, why not try another class that you can play? Start a new one, start an alt,
That's actually...
play something else.
For an altaholic like myself, that's pretty tempting.
Yeah.
Melissa T. would like to know, if we haven't got all of the DOV content yet, when will we be expected to see the new expansions content? 2013?
No, the next...
The challenge is down.
Well, we're going to be releasing Velius stuff through 2013.
Right.
The next installment of it will be the next GU after Freeport Reborn,
Oh, terrific.
which is first quarter next year.
Oh, that's a pretty good answer there.
And then we're going to take a pause from Velius to do Keynotes next summer, and then we work on Velius until we're done.
And we're still committed to providing that as free content
Yeah,
that
well-
goes... Well, the Velius content is tied to the Destiny of Velius expansion. Right. Okay.
So it's free after you buy the expansion pack. But it's basically, you don't have to keep paying again for it.
Right.
There won't be any additional
And
charge.
Keynotes will be provided free to all, just like the Freeport revamp?
What?
Keynotes,
Yes.
yes.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was still on Velius. It's been a
We
long
should
day.
also mention we're kind of operating on a bit of lack of sleep here. All right, Marshall A. asks, if Beast Lord's going to be a scout class, will they get to use a bow and poisons? Are they a scout class?
They are a scout class, yes.
Ah,
I think I'm going to have to check on the bow and poisons.
I don't remember for sure. All
Yeah.
I
the
remember
answer is really good question.
the change that I remember from the fanfare announcements is we talked about them being leather armor, and they're not. They're chain. We decided to go ahead and roll them into the same scout category, so they use chain. The weapons,
I'm pretty sure that's a no, but I'd want to double check.
yeah, I need to double check.
Yeah.
I don't remember. We've been making so many tweaks on Beast Lords that I'm not really sure.
And you have to be really careful because you know that on launch day it's going to be Beast Lords are OP, right?
Well, of course.
Okay, Raymond M. You are merging an exchange server with Freeport. How does this affect the plat and other items purchased before the merge? Do players get to keep everything?
The plat what?
Okay, let's assume that this is an exchange server character moving to Freeport.
Yeah.
does that character being moved get to keep everything, including their plat?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
other
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, yeah. It's a straight up merge. You get to keep
Okay.
everything. You'll keep all your house stuff, everything. Yeah, nothing gets taken away.
Okay, so it's kind of different than maybe a regular transfer might be in the
Oh,
same
it's
system.
definitely not a copy or a regular transfer. This is a merge of servers.
Okay.
Like they'll come together, and the only thing that could possibly change is if one of the Vox or Bazaar characters had the same name as somebody that's already on Freeport.
Right.
In which case they'd get an X added to their name, and they'd get a they could request a rename.
Okay, terrific. Okay, Tammy L. asks, for those of us with accounts on Live and EQ2X, will we be able to keep all of our characters, or how will it be decided which ones we will have access to? If our Live account is inactive, we are unable to log those characters on, and in some cases may be the preferred character to play once that server is free to play. Will there be some sort of transfer available to those on Freeport to another server? That's a very complicated question.
Yep, there's about 4 questions there.
Yeah. Good luck, Dave. We believe in you.
Well, the first part is you don't lose any characters, period. Now, you may not have enough slots to access all those characters.
Right.
That's still under discussion right now, and I won't have an answer on that particular question until next week. Because
Okay.
we're discussing it internally. We know what we want to do. We want to do the right thing. We're trying to figure out how to make it exploit-proof. So,
Gotcha.
so we'll wait until it's exploit-proof before we announce the solution. But in the meantime, let's say you had 15 characters and only 10 slots. And
Right.
you'd be like, oh my God, how can I get that character to be available? Well, it's based on whatever was last logged in. So right before the conversion, if you go in and log in the characters that you want to make damn sure you can get access, then those would be the last logged in ones. And no matter how many slots you have available, they'd be on the top of the list.
Right.
But as far as the other one, I have to wait till next week. to
Right,
answer.
and in this case, because Tammy's Live account is inactive, excuse me, they won't be able to log in unless they start their subscription up again, which is the way that everything currently works.
Well, they can log in as a free player.
Yeah, not on the live servers. So that's,
Oh, I
that's
see what
fairly
you're
clear.
saying.
So they,
Right,
in
right,
order
right.
to rearrange characters on live servers, they'd have to log in.
Right.
Okay. Excuse me. Justin G. This is another really long one. This is going to take at least half an hour. And we're going to get Emily to answer this one. This is kind of like one of those math logic puzzles that you used to get in grade 11, usually after you've come in after being up way too late playing video games.
Train A, Train B.
Justin G. My main character and my main alt are both level 90. Neither are a free class or race. Both are decked out in some of the best gear, and both have mostly master rank spells. Once the change happens, will I not be able to play my characters? If I can, what happens to their spells and gear? I believe that SOE needs to throw a bone to those of us who have paid for the game loyally for the past 7 years.
This is kind of the question that we just answered.
Wait.
Okay.
See, I told you. It's
Carry
not
on,
finished
carry
yet.
on.
Allow us to have 1 or 2 characters with no restrictions if you are not gold. SOE is where it is today because of subscribers like me. Reward us. This free-to-play model is not a reward. Please. Now you can answer.
I just want to check the wording on that last bit.
Feel free. I know it's a really, really long one.
Okay, well, the first part was basically what we answered before. If you are currently a subscriber on Live and we go free to play and you continue to be a gold subscriber, then nothing changes. You still have all your spell levels, all your characters, everything is just
Everything's
the
the same.
Exactly.
It should be completely seamless, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he wouldn't be affected at all. So if he decides to stop paying us at all, then and doesn't buy any class or race packs, then no, he wouldn't be able to log in those characters, and whatever the free account level restrictions would apply.
But that's no different than now.
Which
But
is
that's actually still better
In fact-
than if you stopped paying your subscription
Exactly.
today, you wouldn't be able to play anything tomorrow.
right. And
Right.
then his last question, which I was just checking the wording, allow us to have 1 or 2 characters with no restrictions. Well, those are all of our free races and classes. I mean, roll up a half-elf wizard.
I know that in this question, what they're really asking is for us to grandfather characters in that are free and stuff like that. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as everything else goes, it's so much more flexible now. You're not stuck with, well, I'm not paying this month, so I can't play this month.
Right.
Absolutely.
There's still lots of other options that you can do.
Okay. Ken S. Now he wants to know, I got the impression that Beast Lords are going to be a purchased class from the announcement. Is that true? If that's the case, why are we getting a CE reward item, that's the collector's edition, that we have to pay extra money to be able to use? The Warder is listed as a CE perk. This should be an easy one.
Yes, it is. Beast Lords are included with the expansion. So if you purchase the expansion, you get Beast Lords.
And
Cool.
they are not sold separately.
No.
Interesting. Okay. That answers everything.
Absolutely. If you buy that collector's edition, then you get your Beast Lord right away, and you can use your pet that you get
And
with
I
it.
am so buying the collector's edition just for that Warder pet.
It's pretty cool looking.
I'm
It's-
telling you, I think that the collector's edition this time around is way better than previous collector's editions. There's some stuff in there that's completely unique. A warder that has different abilities than any other warder that you can possibly get, unique dungeon levels and spawners and just a lot of stuff that you can't get anywhere else but that at collector's edition.
And the house. The house
and
is
the house.
awesome.
The house
Yeah, the
is
lava
I may be
house.
biased, but the house is
Yeah,
awesome.
they're going
Yeah.
to show some screens after this.
Yeah.
It's some really good
At
stuff.
the end of the webcast, we have a few screens of images that are the collector's edition items that you're really going to want to stay tuned in for. Very, very neat. And the Lava Storm house, the images that we have don't even do it justice. It's just that
Cool.
cool. It's like living inside a barbecue.
Yeah, the people that love to break out of houses are going to love this one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if living inside a barbecue is the most flattering way you could have described that.
I don't
but
know. It's just
it's pretty
everything's
awesome.
on fire. Okay, it's like living in my office on a Monday morning. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
But with less beer.
Yes, with less beer. It's disappearing rapidly, I can tell you. Justin W. wants to know, will EQ2X or Freeport and Bazaar server characters now get veterans rewards?
Yes.
Excellent. And are they dated from the date of the account?
I'll check on the detail of that, but yes, they should.
Yeah,
be.
I suspect we're going to get some in-depth questions on that, so that's very cool. The other thing is that I've also heard that Freeport characters can join the battlegrounds, the cross-server battlegrounds.
That is a major perk for the Freeport players.
Cool.
So, yeah, Battlegrounds especially.
That's terrific. Felden E. wants to know, I would love to know when the newly revamped EQ2 Players site will launch. So would we. Actually, the interesting thing is,
I know
internally...
when it's supposed to launch.
Yeah, we know when it's supposed to launch. It's looking good. That's all I can say. I mean, can
Yeah.
we say that?
Well, I can say this, that we're completely overhauling the EverQuest2.com site, and we intend for the EQ2 player stuff to be part of that relaunch. It's going to boil down to whether or not we feel it's solid enough, whether it shows up on that day or not.
Right.
But the work is actively going on it, and I know nobody out there believes us, but it's actively being worked on. I've seen it in progress. It's a big improvement, but I'm not exactly sure what date it'll be launched.
I think the sarcastic among them would say anything would be a big improvement. But
Well-
it really is. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you're going to be pleased and surprised.
I like the DC website quite a bit, the one that they revamped just for this relaunch that they did. And ours will be similar in content.
Right. I think Felden is probably also specifically talking about the EQ2 players' data, the character data that's
Oh,
on
yeah.
there.
Well, he knows because he's starting to tinker with it. But yeah, the data will be really solid. It'll be good.
That'll be terrific. Magali V, and it could be Magali, I don't know. People with names that are not Bob or Fred are hard for me. But Magali V asked this on the last post. Will we be able to transfer off the Freeport server once the Bazaar is merged with it, or are we stuck there too? Freeport becomes a regular server, right?
Yeah.
So you can transfer off it now, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
That said, they're awesome folks, so maybe you don't want to.
They really are.
They're really nice. It's a
I
good
don't know
community.
how many of you guys have actually played on the Freeport server, but when free-to-play launched, I was somewhat dubious. I wanted to see what the experience was like for some of these people who were bronze players. So I rolled a new anonymous character, went out and talked and played with people, and I was there for several weeks, and I just thought that it was a really cool community. They're very nice people. So
That's fun.
I play there a fair
fun.
bit now. Tanya R. Why are you forcing us to move from Vox to Nagy? The PvP play is different and the game is different. She's so unhappy.
Well, we understand that. But the population on Vox is so low that the PvP quality is extremely low. So even though there's a community on Vox that's used to being on a tiny little server, and that makes a lot of sense, and some people really like that, there's a majority of people on Vox that don't like it at all. And so we're moving people from Vox to Nagafin because essentially Nagafin's the only other PvP server at this point. So we have, after this is all said and done, we're only going to have two kinds of servers, PvE and PvP. That's it. There's no other restrictions anymore. Hugely simplified. And so since we're dissolving the Vox server, and we need to, we need to move them to another PvP server, and there's only one choice.
Okay. On that note as well, where you're talking about only having two kinds of servers, we're only going to have one kind of forums, the EQ2 forums.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be going
this whole thing is going to be so much better.
Yep. I do believe that RadarX has already posted to the EQ2X forums to give you guys a heads up on what's going to happen. We're going to welcome all of the EQ2X players into the larger EQ2 family and phase the EQ2X forums out over time. And that's going to be really great because now when Dave posts on the EQ2 live side, you guys will see it. When he posts to the EQ2X side, the guys on the live forums will see it. So, because we're all going to be in one happy little place.
Yeah, we'll just be one big family again.
It'll be awesome, won't it?
It will be.
Everybody will be happy. There will be no
awesome.
dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, no. Yeah, everything will be perfect after that.
Can we hold you to that? Linda promised it. You heard it here.
Yeah, we do plan to make this an interesting conversion, and we're going to be very intolerant of any anger that shows up. There's sometimes a rivalry between the EQ2 Live people and the EQ2X people, and I think that it's completely artificial, and we're not going to tolerate any of that.
The extended folks are not going to be displeased at all.
They're going to be terrific.
They're so happy to be part of the fold.
Yeah.
I mean, right now you can go to the forums on that side of the fence, and they're just happy that they get to come over.
For those of you who want to keep track of, we have an official discussion thread on both the EQ2 Live and the EQ2X forums, and if you go to the EQ2 Facebook page, there should be a note there that has links to everything. The announcement, the link to the FAQ, Dave's producer letter, links to the official discussion threads so that you can chime in as well with your opinions. But let's get back to the questions here. Adam C., here's one for you. Can you explain clearly and bluntly why we are paying expansion prices for features barely on par with what an adventure pack would have given us in the past? While the update content has been fairly robust, it is mostly content that should have come with a core Velius expansion. The quarterly update model was agreed to years ago and has only loosely been followed.
Okay. Well, I'll start with that last part.
Okay.
No business plan lasts.
Right.
I mean, business, especially MMO business, changes constantly, as you're seeing today. So if anybody was foolish enough to have committed to a concrete plan in the past, well, I'm sorry, but those people were idiots. And we're not going to be doing that anymore. Well, you said bluntly, so here it comes.
I'm good with that.
What we're doing this time around is we're actually trying to make people a lot happier. We're releasing content and features on a regular basis without it being part of an expansion pack. We recently released Dungeon Finder and all the housing stuff we've done and raids and all kinds of different things on a regular basis just on in between GUs. Mm-hmm. Well, not raids, but the other stuff. We're continuing to release content on a quarterly basis, if not more than quarterly, for the next several years. We have plans for all of that stuff. We were intending originally to charge for a second part to the Velius saga.
I remember that discussion, yeah.
Destiny of Velius was supposed to be part one, and then we were going to put out another box product the next year that had the whole second half. And we talked about it for a long time, and it had nothing to do with the customer feedback, really. We just thought it was wrong. We just thought that it was not the right thing to do. What we wanted to do instead was set it up so that there was content releasing on such a regular schedule throughout the year that you always have something cool to look forward to. And we decided to make that decision and put all this focus on content. And the Freeport revamp and the Kinos revamp are huge. I mean, they're a gigantic amount of stuff, plus all the Velius stuff we were doing, plus the other things that we're doing in addition to that. So when we were putting together expansion pack plans, we started looking at, well, what else can we do? We've got our content teams completely socked up. Well, all right, can we possibly approach this from a code side? Can we look at this as code features? Are there features that we could deliver that would be game-changing enough that people might be interested in purchasing them? And that's why we developed the set of features that we have for Age of Discovery. I'm firmly convinced these are great features, and they're completely worthwhile to pay for, even individually. We're packaging them together as an expansion pack because our business wasn't ready to parse them apart yet. We hadn't done the free-to-play conversion, so on and so forth, and our decision to make the expansion pack was quite a while ago.
Right.
We made the decision today, we might change that. But Beast Lords, Dungeon Maker is going to be a huge game changer. It'll be really cool.
Man, I am looking forward to trying that.
The Trade Skill Apprentices are going to give Trade Skill people a lot to do. And then the Mercenaries, well, if you thought Dungeon Finder was cool, Dungeon Finder plus Mercenaries is going to be even cooler. You'll be able to find a group at any level, anywhere you want to go to. It's just a couple of friends together, and all of a sudden you're doing heroic dungeons and stuff. So these are completely valuable features. And, well, honestly, if you don't think it's valuable, well, go back to the beginning of this conversation, and you don't got to pay for them. AOD is not a required expansion pack. If you don't want it, it's optional.
Okay. On the lines of AOD, now we have several questions from Tommy M. So we'll see how many of these we can get through here. Will DOV be included in Age of Discovery? See
No.
nothing about that on the Age of Discovery webpage.
It won't be. Destiny of Velius will be continued to be sold, and like I said, we're supporting it with new content throughout the next couple of years. And then AOD is a completely separate product that isn't necessary to have in order to play in Velius, and they're sold separately.
All right. Tommy M. also would like to know, can players trade with each other on a bronze account, as I know the current 14-day trial disables that feature?
Yeah, they can trade. They just can't broker.
Gotcha.
You can trade face-to-face, but you can't broker.
Oh, that's very handy to know. That's actually going to be very useful for some of my friends that are coming into the game. And he also would like to know, what will happen to guide quests that we have access to 24/7 on the Bazaar when we get merged to Freeport? Will those quests come along with us and become available on that server?
So on the Exchange servers, we were never able to implement the guide program. I believe there were legal reasons. I'm not sure of all the details. But as a substitute for that, we put in some NPCs that would offer those quests only on those servers because they had no other way to access guides and get them. Now that it's being merged with a standard rule set server, those won't be necessary. So yes, those NPCs will go away, but you will have real guides to interact with, and they'll actually be able to give out a wider range of guide quests because it was only a small subset of the guide quests that were made into NPCs. So.
And this is where we break the immersion here to say, Robin,
Yes.
Robin Nalee Valley, who's on the other side of the screen over there, is actually the coordinator for our guide program. So how many guides do we currently have for EQ2?
About 300.
300 individuals. And they make the rounds
It's a lot.
of all, it is a lot. And they make the rounds of all of the different servers, and when you least expect it, they're going to be running an event or handing out quests, helping to support player events and that sort of thing. So I think that once you go to Freeport, you should be able to see some of these fine people. Right, Robin?
Yes.
She says that with great aplomb. I'm sure that'll come to pass. So look forward to it. They're pretty easy to spot, and there are a lot of guide events. We're hoping this year to to find a way to make it so that guide events are even more visible to people so that they know when they're coming in advance. Now, the last question, I think we can squeeze this in here. I know we've run over time, but I know you guys have a lot of questions that we want to answer here. So what will, will we see any engine enhancements in EQ2 anytime soon? I was told by Smokey,
Smokey, that's
that it
one
was
of the
on
more
the
kind
to-do list
variants.
for this year, but still haven't seen any engine enhancements, and the frame rate is still not up to par with other games, as he said. I also think that people who use the live gamer feature should. Oh, okay, that's a different. Let's talk about the engine first.
Sure. Well, it's no secret that we agree that we need to be able to do things like use multiple CPUs and things like that. All of those tasks take a large amount of time to do. We have a principal graphics engineer on the team who's really, really well established. He's been doing it for 20 years. He's fantastic. We had him working on optimizations last year, and we did implement a bunch of them. But it's been a while since we put in new ones, and to be honest, the reason why there haven't been new optimizations is because we have him working on a new terrain tool so that we can create overlands and dungeons in a more rapid fashion than what we're doing right now, so that we can release more content, which everybody wants. So he's working on that terrain tool right now, and when he's done with that terrain tool, which we expect in the next couple of months, then we'll get right back onto these optimizations.
Wow, that's terrific. All right, so the second half of this, which is actually a separate question, I also think the people who use the live gamer feature should get some kind of unique compensation for losing their ability to sell stuff. It was the
Okay.
I don't recall the feature being used all that heavily. Do we
It's
have
not-
any numbers on that?
I mean, even if we had numbers, we wouldn't be releasing them because we're SOE. We don't release numbers.
Right.
But let's just say there wasn't very much activity.
Right.
Um,
Which obviously, if it was wildly successful, we would be.
We wouldn't be shutting it down if it was wildly successful. So very, very few people are making any kind of sales at all. And it was just not being utilized very much. I have to think about if we could possibly give something, but I don't know what it would be, and I don't know what would be compensating, to be honest.
You could merge them into an awesome new server with more people to play with.
Well, there you go.
What a great reward!
And
We'll take it under consideration.
and he ends with, I hope our subscriptions will automatically turn over to gold status so that we don't lose out on anything.
Oh,
Done.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we really do want to make it as seamless as possible for everybody logging in on the morning of the expansion to enjoy the expansion content. If you're a subscriber, you're automatically gold. Your membership will renew on the same date that your subscription used to renew. Everything carries on as usual.
Yeah, like I said, the only change is that the subscriptions become optional.
Right.
That's it.
Final question, and this is probably not the final question, but this is the list of questions that we received in time for the webcast. Eden E. over Twitter has asked, can we still purchase adventure class packs, and do we keep those that were purchased prior?
Adventure class? You mean
The
just
class
The-
packs,
the-
I believe.
The adventure class
Yeah.
packs, yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure, yes, absolutely.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean, there's not really anything else to say, right?
Every race or class pack that you purchased before, you still own.
You still have.
Right, okay.
Period. We're not taking anything away. Whatever, if you bought any marketplace item, you still have it.
All right.
Period.
And then just in terms of content, just to reiterate, when we transform to free-to-play, everyone, including all of the free players, will have content for every expansion and content release up to and including Sentinel's Fate.
Right.
Okay.
DOV and AOD are the only
Are the
things
only
that are
separate
purchasable.
ones. All
Everything
right.
else you get for free.
That pretty much covers everything. Now there's one more thing. Oh, sorry, Robin, did you have a?
Just one question. Will AOD be available to purchase through the marketplace?
Yes.
Dun,
For
dun,
station
dun.
cash, yes.
For station cash. You just know that those people that don't really desperately need it right at launch are going to wait up and hope for a double station cash weekend,
Oh, yeah,
right?
probably. But that's okay. I mean, honestly, that's okay. We know that happens. And in fact, one of the things people might not be expecting, even though we did say it in the producer's letter, is that the non-recurring subscriptions can be purchased with station cash also.
Which is also
Which
really
is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very, very neat. Now, speaking of station cash, we like to do this every once in a while when we have a few extra station cash cards floating around. We have 3 of them, each good for their $10 station cash cards, and that's equivalent to 1,000 station cash in game, which is really terrific. And we're just going to draw 3 names at random for those folks that sent in questions.
Oh my God, I hope I picked the right one.
The right one.
Somebody who hates me. Let's see. Read it.
Yeah. We got to let them know who it is. You're not getting the card.
I didn't know you had a special fanfare or something.
No. Oh, that would be cool.
Felden!
Yay, Felden! You're about to become a major Marketplace fan.
He's a huge Marketplace fan. Have you seen the height of Felden?
Oh, yes.
The photos of me, I'm about up to his elbow. Justin W.
All right, and I've got David S. We'll post this to Facebook. You guys can send us an email to let us know where you'd like your station cash code sent to. Congratulations all. It's time to close this webcast. I know that you guys have a lot more questions. We're going to try to spend extra time on the forums to answer as many questions as you possibly have. It's entirely possible that you'll come up with questions that we don't really know the answers to yet. I think we had one
Like
or
the
two of those
character slot
today.
thing.
So we'll find those things out for you as we drive along to the road to the Age of Discovery expansion and free-to-play transition. It's going to be a really fun ride. I hope you guys come along for it. And next week, we're going to have another webcast, and I think we can semi-confidently say that we hope to make it on the Dungeon Maker program. And that'll be really cool. That'll be next Thursday. Tune in, and we'll see what kind of cool information we can bring you on that.
Can we clear up something?
Oh, yes.
Is they're concerned that that Dave has dissed my server, Antonia Bale, because you did not mention that there's roleplay servers.
Oh,
That is
Are they role-playing their uproar?
sorry, sorry.
Here, let's
Yes.
do this better. Yeah, Dave, what about the role-play servers then?
Sorry, I'm not that guy.
Okay, we all gotta make those demotivational posters featuring Dave with that guy.
Hey, I did the Sarnag voice last time.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
You caught me on a flat-footed. But, I mean, yeah, of course there's a role-play server still. I play on Antonia Bale. Didn't mean to diss it. Love the server. It's the only place that loves trolls. I'm happy.
So please stop throwing things now.
We've just been thinking in very technical terms in terms of the actual technical gameplay, PvP, PvE, but absolutely Antonia Bale is awesome.
And that's why it is still the highest population server of all.
In fact, they're having the Festival of Discord right now, which is pretty cool. Check it
So,
out.
There you go. Thank you for tuning in. Again, join us again next Thursday when we bring you Dungeon Maker. Thanks very much, Dave and Emily, for joining us for these questions. Now, please do stay tuned so that you can see some of those fabulous sneak peek images of the items included in the collector's edition. And we'll put these up on the forums or on the web page as well over the next day or two. Thanks very much. Bye.
Thanks.